Greetings, free thinkers. Welcome to the Hoggcast. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing fine. I certainly am. Okay, so the 17-year-old young man who we won't name. In fact, you know what? Forget it. We'll name him. Kyle Rittenhouse. I was going to say I'll not name him because of the demonetization. But you know, some things are more important than my monetization. And this is one of them. Okay? Kyle Rittenhouse. Susan Wojcicki. So we've got two clips to watch today, both involving Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse. Whereas this just got... So I'm probably going to go off on a few tangents in this video because I'm angry. This is the first tangent, okay? What they're doing to Kyle Rittenhouse and the difference between how Kyle Rittenhouse conducted himself and, for example, the mayor of Kenosha and the governor of Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin. The difference between the two of those people is astounding. The governor told the National Guard to stand down. The police were nowhere to be seen on the night in question. He just handed the city over to the mob. You can't characterize it any way else. And this is the thing we see with Democrats. They do it time and time again. Because they're on the same side. If it happened once, you could say, oh, maybe it was a mistake. Twice, oh, I don't know. 3 times, my suspicion is up there now. But 10, 15, 20 times? How many times did we see these BLM riots? How many times did we see the riots? In Democrat cities, and the police and the National Guard were told to stand down. If it happens 15, 16 times in a row, it ain't no coincidence, it ain't a mistake, it ain't one of those things. It's a concerted effort. And when there is a defence void, people who live in their city and they might not want their house burnt down or their family business burnt down or a monument that matters to them burnt down. So they go and defend it. And what this trial is, this isn't a trial necessarily of Kyle Rittenhouse. It's a trial for you and me. They're putting you and me and our rights, your inalienable rights, on the stand. And the latest news I have for you now at the moment, 2 of the jurors, allegedly, this is just what I've heard from official sources, but again, it's just what I've heard. 2 of the jurors are holding out because they're concerned, even though they know he's innocent, they're concerned that the looters will do their usual thing. The largely peaceful crowd will fortify Kenosha again. Just think of that. You know somebody is innocent of a crime, but you will trample on hundreds of years of genuine judicial equality, your rights. They'll trample on it all just to appease BLM and ANTIFA because they don't want them doing their usual things. That should be grounds, if that's true, that should be grounds for a mistrial immediately. But the judge is under the microscope now as well by the mainstream media and the woke left and the Twitterati. And he probably, if he wasn't under so much pressure, he probably would have declared a mistrial. But you see, this is the way they work. It's a machine. You often hear the word Democrat machine. That's what it is. It's a giant machine, a powerhouse of these different groups and different interests that all have the same goal. Push woke radicalism. This new religion. The new woke religion. That's what it is. So, we'll get into this video now. We'll play the 2 clips. We'll stop it intermittently so I can make the points that I feel I need to make. If you haven't yet, and if you want to, you can subscribe to the Hoggcast, hit the notification bell and share the video around. We are deboosted. This video will get demonetized, of course. In fact, I won't monetize it. I don't want to monetize it. I'm not going to. I also have a membership scheme which you can join to support the Hoggcast. We are the underdog after all. We are conservative commentators. Anyway, let's go.
If Anthony Hoover don't get it, if JoJo don't get it, if JoJo don't get it, until JoJo get it.
So this guy wants you to think he's oppressed. Can you remember those old 1800s clips of former slaves who were as thin as a bacon rasher because they had gone through genuine hardships? This man hasn't. Look at him. Look at his rubber ring. Do you know what's the funniest of all? Yeah, the rubber ring is covered by the word lives. Obesity kills, my friend. Obesity kills.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
The people involved were white.
We gonna take it to the street to find the police!
So, if in case I'm wrong, he just said we're going to take it to the streets and find the police or F the police or something like that. So listen again.
To find the police! We gonna take it to the street to find the police!
We're going to, I'm sure, 99.9% sure he's saying we're going to take it to the streets to find the police. Well, why would you want to find the police? Has a crime happened? No, of course it hasn't. Are you going to commit a crime? I think you are. They are here to intimidate. It's like the prosecution, bizarrely, pointed the AR-15 at the jury. The only reason someone would do that is it's a threat. That's what it was. That's a threat. This is a threat. It's all what it is. It's the message. The woke left, for all of their innumerable failings, the woke left are very good at sending negative messages to their intended victims. They're experts at it. Manipulation, doublethink, cognitive dissonance, just anything you can think of that's negative. They're very good at it. And they're very good at getting that message across. Because they are, of course, slaves to their narrative. That's all that matters to them. And if you come to the table with a narrative and the other party comes to the table with the truth, if you're going to win over the people with the truth, you have to develop some very inventive and manipulative ways to dominate. So the people with the truth aren't even allowed to talk. They're not even allowed to reach a sensible conclusion, even if they know that the defendant is innocent. So, oh, well, I don't want my town getting burnt down. What's one kid's life? We'll see when they. Do you think they'll just stop? We'll see if you think that way when they come for you.
We gonna take it to the street to find the police. ACAB.
So these people are saying ACAB. All cops are B words. Outside of a court. And there's allegedly 2 jurors holding out. Oh, you know. This is who you're siding with. If that story is true about the 2, this is who you're siding with. You honestly think he'll stop? If you think he's just going to stop, we'll just placate them, we'll just feed the beast. Tomorrow he'll come back for a next helping and he'll want twice as much. They are never going to stop. Whilst you just give them what they want. These are people who never fully matured into adults. They are petulant. They've been given everything they ever want on a plate. This guy, literally in this guy's case, he has eaten everything in plain sight on a plate. So next clip, right off the bat, you can see the guy who's eaten too much. He's taken up about 3/4 of the screen. What they're doing is they're surrounding, because there's a small group of patriots. I think there's only a minority of patriots turned up to support civil rights. That's the thing. These BLM types and the Antifa types here are arguing against civil rights, the right to defend yourself, the right to a fair trial, the right to free speech, which is why they're trying to shut down the other people. You notice how it never goes the other way. Never. I've said before, the three things that make a patriot or conservative a patriot is, well, we'll say conservative for this because patriot is another thing entirely, really, if you think about it. But to be a conservative, it's pattern recognition, foresight, and critical thinking skills. Those three things, and those three things are all devoid on the left. I say that because pattern recognition, you never see it the other way. Never. And the left, especially the types on Twitter, you tell them this and they just go a glazed over, gormless look. They've never thought about it. They don't see further past their nose. If they riot today, tomorrow they've forgotten all about it. And if they debate you or argue with you, they'd be shocked and dismayed if you brought it up. They'd just forgotten about it. They couldn't care less. So as usual, that's the Patriot woman there. She's got an American flag hat. I can't remember what her sign says on face value. I think we might see it, but she's identified herself as being in support of civil rights, in support of 2A, First Amendment rights to speak, Second Amendment rights to defend yourself and take up arms. So they're all surrounding her and hooting. They shout in her ear through a loudhailer. All the usual stuff. The classic situation. You know what I mean? The situation where it's one patriot, no one to help them, no one to protect them, surrounded by screaming leftists who want to kill them. What does that remind you of? Does that remind you of a certain young man? I rest my case.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! We don't need white supremacists here! We don't need white supremacists!
We don't need white supremacists here. Who's a white supremacist? What are you talking about? Where are they? This is how stupid they can be. Yeah, you see what I mean? That's how stupid they are. Really, it's just, you can't, there's no thinking. It's just reacting on instinct. Like an animal. There's just no, if you tried to explain to these people that all the people involved were white, they'd just assault you. They wouldn't even listen. They'd just scream. What they do is they put the loudhailer up against your ear, and they just scream down it, because they think if they do that, if they scream Black Lives Matter into your ear, that it would somehow go into your head, and then you would come around to their way of thinking. This is getting to the heart, and I said in the beginning of this video there'd be a lot of tangents in this video, and I apologise, but because I'm angry. But this gets to the heart of what makes leftists tick. They think that their message is the only thing that's allowed. So if they just shout it really loud, they'll get through to you. Do you know what I mean? If they put their loudhailer to your ear and just shout, that you'll come around. That's how their brains work, if you can call it a brain.
Here. We don't need white supremacists here! We don't need white supremacists here! We don't need white supremacists here! We don't need white supremacists here!
So you can see, look, they've got the two pictures of the white people involved, the sex offender, and that's the sex offender there, and then this guy here who tried to strangle his own brother. So this is the people they're defending. It's the same with Jacob Blake, George Floyd, all of the usual people. These leftists are here to support and promote the worst people in society, because that's who they are, the worst people in society. It's amazing, isn't it, that you could be that disconnected from reality. Really. And it's just everyone's a white supremacist now. It's just, oh, we'll label that person and that person and that person. Because these people are never pushed back on, ever. They always outnumber like one conservative, and it's always the way. You never see it the other way around.
We don't need white supremacists here!
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 I'm going to stop it there because it's just more of the same. It's just them shouting down the thing. And look, you've got the mainstream media here. So look, they find it funny. They think it's hilarious. And if they started assaulting her, no one would help her. It'd just be her, a conservative, a lone conservative on her own, getting pounded by leftists, and not in a good way. But and that gives you a... Oh, just think about it. What does it remind you of? One lone conservative surrounded by leftists. Who does that remind you of? And I'm hoping that other people notice the similarity. That's the only thing that keeps me going. Yeah, is that I hope and pray that other people can see what's going to happen. Because if you keep indulging the mob, you're going to end up in a third world country. And if that's what happens, you better stop listening to the people who try and tell you you're not allowed to protect yourself. Because if you keep listening to them, they will walk you straight into the gas chamber. That's what they'll do to you. I know I've been a bit hyperbolic in this video, but it's like in society. It's like the people who should care don't. It's like the people who's literally, it's their job to stand in the way of tyranny, actively support it. What do you do in a situation like that? We're not in a video game. This is real life. What do you do? It's not a movie. It's not V for Vendetta or The Purge or anything. It's real life, real people. And these screaming, hooting renter mobs, I want to see them smashed before... And when I say smashed, I don't mean... It's not as a threat. I mean... their ideology. I want to see that ideology pushed back on. They've done a very good job of putting conservatives in a position where we feel as if we're not even allowed to talk anymore. And if you're that unsecure in your own ideology that you need me to be silenced so that your ideology can thrive, then your ideology, deep down you know that you really haven't got a leg to stand on. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.